everybody, it's Beth with the Crazy Crafty Chicks, and today we're gonna talk about design space. It's one of my favorite things. Sometimes I think I like to design the projects more than I actually like to make the projects. I know that sounds weird, but I just get so caught up in the designing aspects. Sometimes I forget I actually have a project I have to cut out. Incidentally, stay tuned to the end of the video because I'm going to show you the setup here I have with my computers. It makes it a lot easier for me to do the design space work and some of the delicate, hard to see stuff. So hang on to the end and I'll show you that. Today we're actually going to talk about the group feature. So I just pulled a couple images out of Design Space. So we have a couple different layers to work with, and we're going to kind of arrange them and show you what group means. To me, group equals canvas. When you group it together, it's how it's going to look on the canvas. That does not mean that that's how it's going to look on the mat when you send it to the mat. Right now, let's check this out. This is all ungrouped. It's just kind of hanging here on my canvas in no particular order. So it's all going to go to the mat, again, on their colors where it belongs. So we got that layer with the 3 hearts, we've got the yellow layer of 3 hearts, and we've got all the words together. So let's just, for instance, leave everything exactly right where it is. We'll draw a big square around it, and we'll actually group this together and send it back to the mat. And as you can see, it is all in the same exact places where it was before. Group equals canvas. I'm a very visual person, and I can't visualize what it's going to look like at the end once it's all cut out and put together. So I like to put it together here on my canvas so I can see what it's going to look like later. Incidentally, one of the first things I do when I get to Design Space is I do change the background color of the canvas. That's how it is when you first come in, and sometimes looking at all that white, seeing as how I am on the computer all day, I just like to look at something a little softer, so I do like to change that to a nice little gray. So the other thing group's gonna do for you, and this is still all grouped together, I haven't put anything exactly where I want it yet, where I'm visualizing it in my head, but just to show you, when everything's grouped together, it's gonna resize this perfectly proportionately for however you feel big or small you want to make the project. If you want to stretch this project out, you can do that. However you do it, if you can notice, it's going to do it absolutely proportionately to what you had on the screen. So let's ungroup this, work with a couple of the layers, and then see what we got going from there. So I actually think my hello, if I were making a little decal for the wall, I would think my hello is just a little bit big. Maybe I'll stretch it out just a little bit more. The one other thing I like to do when I'm making a new design in Design Space is I'll group it all together. I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to send it over to the side, and then I'm actually going to hide it. For some reason, if I keep messing around with this and I goof it up too much, I can always go back to that one that I've hidden, bring it back, and redo things. That comes in handy before I take my font and I ungroup it to letters. The minute you ungroup it to letters, you can no longer change the font style, and we're going to talk about fonts later on. But I always duplicate things like that, especially before I weld something, because the only way to unweld is to do the back button. Once you save it, your weld is your weld. So I always like to make a duplicate copy of everything and hide it over here in the layers panel with the eye off. That way, if I need to go back to it, I can go back to it. So this is going to cut out exactly the way we want with all the different layers, and then we're gonna put it all together at the end. So that, my friends, is group. Next, we're gonna use the same image. We're gonna talk about attach. Okay, now that we got group under our belt, we're gonna talk about attach, because attach to me equals mat for this application. When you're talking about images or a group of images and attaching them, it equals the mat. Attach is where you want it to cut out on the mat. Later on, when we talk about fonts, attach will mean something a little different. But right now, attach equals mat. So right now we have the whole design grouped together. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna ungroup it, and we're gonna hide the parts of the image that are different colors. So we're gonna concentrate on the pink layer at the moment. So we're gonna hide everything else with the exception of the pink layer. So everything that's yellow is gonna get hidden. So now all we have is the pink. So we're gonna put a square around it and we're gonna attach that together. Now those are stuck together, and when we send that to the mat, it's gonna cut out exactly the way we just attached it. Attach equals mat. So let's go back and finish the rest of it, because we gotta do our yellow layer and then our words. So we are gonna hide that whole pink layer, and we're gonna bring all those yellow layers back. We're not gonna move anything. Everything is gonna come back exactly where we had it. That way we can just keep attaching. So we're gonna attach that layer together. And again, if we go to the mat, it's gonna cut exactly the way we just told it to basically staple everything where it's at, and that's the way I want it to cut. So we're gonna go back one more time, and this time we're gonna bring everything back. The words are already attached together as a group, so we don't have to worry about attaching those. They're gonna feed to their own paper. So there's our complete image. And now at the end, what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna circle it all, group it all back together, because we can still alter anything we want at any time. So each individual layer is attached. It's all grouped together so it'll proportion properly. So we're now gonna send it to the mat, and that's exactly what we want. Hello is gonna be cut out all together. The yellow layer, which is our bottom layer, is gonna cut out with the hearts in the exact right spot. The pink layer is gonna cut out, which that's gonna be the top layer with those hearts in the exact right spot. So when we go to build this project together, especially if this is a car decal or a wall decal that's gonna go on the wall, or an iron-on project, they're all gonna be cut out at the same place exactly where we want them. If this was gonna be a card, I wouldn't so much worry about attaching everything together. It wouldn't matter to me if they were all cut out in different spots on the mat, and then I could just glue them in place as I go. But if this is gonna be a wall decal, it's much easier to get it all together if everything's in the right spot where you want it. So that, my fellow crafters, is how I use attach when I'm working with an image or a group of images. So hey everybody, I promised you I'd show you my setup. So here's what we have. This is actually my office. Hubs owns a consulting company that we run out of our house, and I get the wonderful pleasure of staying home and working for him, which gives me all the time I need to get my crafting done. He travels most of the time, so he doesn't realize how much I'm actually crafting and how much I'm actually working. So this is actually our office. My studio is actually right down the hall. I'm kind of chuckling right now because underneath my desk is our German Shepherd Tucker's bed. He lays under my desk all day long. And right behind me is my Hub's desk, and underneath his desk is our Rottweiler's Lulu's bed. So she lays under his bed all day long, and they keep us company. So I'm getting older. Sometimes my eyes don't work the way they should. So Hub set up a 35-inch smart TV for me that connects with this cable to my laptop, which is really nice because I can do things on both screens. Some stuff on Design Space I just can't see on the laptop anymore. So if I can shoot it over here, especially when I'm welding things and I want to make them really big and make sure I got the weld properly on it, doing my designs on Design Space is so much easier on a bigger screen. I do use my iPad and I do use my iPhone, primarily just the iPad if I'm going to use Snap Mat, which is something that we can talk about later. I do absolutely love that feature, but I don't do any designing on those devices because it's just too small and I just really have a hard time seeing it. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. I hope you understand a little bit more about group and attach. There are two things that I found extraordinarily confusing when Design Space first came out and I first started using it. So if you like the video, give us a really cool thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe down there so you can see more videos that are coming, and click that really cute bell so you'll be notified every time one of the Crazy Crafty Chicks posts a video. Visit us at our website, thecrazycraftychicks.com, and see all the really cool things we have. Leave a comment for us on something maybe you'd like to see a video on, because we love to try new things. And you know what? If you use one of our tips or our tricks or something like that, submit us a picture of a project that you made, and we would love to put it on our gallery page on our website. So thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. Happy crafting. The Crazy Crafty Chicks. I'll see you next time. Bye.